First, let's set the scene. The clip originates from the documentary Encounters at the End of the World, released on September 1st, 2007, and directed by acclaimed German filmmaker Werner Herzog. In the footage, an Adelie penguin abruptly leaves its colony in Antarctica and starts heading inland towards a mountain range nearly 70 kilometers away from the sea. Herzog's narration famously states the penguin is heading towards certain death, with 5,000 kilometers ahead of him. But we're not here to talk about memes. We're here for the science. So let's get into it. The first and most scientifically supported reason, the penguin got lost. Wildlife experts say such behavior, though uncommon, is documented among penguins, as disorientation, illness, neurological issues, stress during breeding seasons, or simple navigational errors can cause a penguin to wander in unsafe directions. And penguins depend heavily on environmental cues, and when those cues fail, their instincts can lead them astray. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Penguins, like many birds, use magnetic fields to navigate. Their navigation tools are hearing, smelling, and magnetism, and their sense for magnetic fields is so strong that they use it as a compass and map. But it is also very sensible to magnetic intensity, so they know where they are and where to go. But what happens when this system breaks down? The magnetic compass is narrowly tuned to the intensity of the ambient magnetic field, and fields with markedly lower or higher intensity cause disorientation. Young or inexperienced penguins can experience navigational disorientation, losing their ability to use the sun or magnetic fields for direction. Think about that. This penguin's internal GPS could have simply malfunctioned. And there's something even more disturbing. It seems unlikely that they just get disoriented, because if you take a penguin and put it back in one of its familiar places, even inside its colony, it just goes back to the same place again. So this wasn't just confusion. Once the penguin started on that path, something in its brain locked onto that direction. The second reason takes us into darker territory, mental health and neurological breakdown. Scientists say this type of behavior is unusual, but not unheard of, with possible explanations including disorientation, where penguins rely on environmental cues, which can sometimes fail, and neurological issues or illness, where health problems may prompt solitary wandering. Let's talk about stress. Penguins aren't immune to it. Stress responses are mostly mediated by corticosterone, a hormone involved in energy regulation, immune reactions, and stress responses. When stress levels spike, behavior changes dramatically. A certain degree of stress and the related release of hormones can benefit penguins by increasing alertness and reallocating energy reserves to react to stressors. But chronic stress can produce negative effects in an individual's health and behavior. What could cause this level of stress? Food scarcity. When there is a scarcity of food, penguins may experience increased stress and anxiety, which in turn can affect their overall mental health. This penguin might have been experiencing something akin to a mental breakdown, a neurological issue, a stress response so severe that it overrode every survival instinct. The third reason is the one nobody wants to talk about: us. Human impact on the Antarctic environment. Environmental stressors pose significant threats to penguin populations, potentially contributing to the development of their self-destructive behaviors. And these stressors include habitat degradation, food scarcity, and human interference, which may trigger abnormal behaviors, such as abandoning nests or wandering into dangerous areas. Climate change is reshaping Antarctica. Adelie penguins spend lots of time on sea ice searching for the krill that they feed on in the water below. And in recent years, changes in the distribution of sea ice have forced the penguins to travel farther and expend more energy while hunting for krill than they have in the past. Think about the cascade effect here. Warmer temperatures mean less sea ice. Less sea ice means longer foraging trips. Longer trips mean more energy expenditure. More energy expenditure with less food means chronic stress. And chronic stress can lead to behavioral abnormalities. Herzog filmed this in 2007, but the environmental pressures on penguins have only intensified. So here's what we know. From a biological perspective, the penguin's behavior is considered an anomaly rather than a philosophical choice. Wildlife biologists note that behavioral deviations do not indicate conscious intention, and individual variation, environmental stress, or health issues typically explain departures from normal patterns. The truth? We'll probably never know exactly why this specific penguin walked towards the mountains. There doesn't appear to be any peer-reviewed study that explains this, And in fact, there doesn't seem to be any science on penguin suicide. So for now, this remains just an observed behavior with no proposed underlying mechanism and no theory behind it. But what we can say is that the most likely explanation involves a combination of these three factors: a navigational malfunction potentially triggered by neurological issues or illness, exacerbated by environmental stressors that have fundamentally altered the Antarctic ecosystem. In the end, the penguin is not making a statement, rejecting society, or questioning existence. It is simply lost. But the fact that millions see themselves in that quiet walk says far more about us than it does about the penguin. The viral Nihilist Penguin became a mirror for human anxiety, burnout, and existential dread in 2026. But the reality is far more sobering. This penguin was a sick or disoriented animal in a rapidly changing environment.